Hey, welcome back, Bottle Killers and Killettes. We're back with another Bottle Kill TV review for you. As always, I'm your host, Michael Roche, and we have, as always, the often imitated, never duplicated. It's the real Bottle Killer, ladies and gentlemen. How the hell are you?
Doing good, thanks, Michael. Ready for this one. Thank you for joining us there, viewers. Excited, feeling good.
Yeah, it's another challenging one. I feel this is going to be another challenging one.
Potentially, yeah.
So this could be a peat monster. It could be a sherry bomb. What actually is it that we're trying today?
Today we've got the 2024 release of the Laphroaig Cairdeas. I think that's how you say it, even though it looks like Cairdeas on the bottle.
Comment.
Laphroaig Cairdeas is the annual festival facially release that they do for Friends of Laphroaig. This one is based on a combination of two previous releases. So back in 2019, they released a triple wood, which was matured in bourbon oak quarter casks, and I think had a finishing period in European oak. And then in 2021, they did a release which I personally thought was excellent. A little bit on the dirty side, but a PX Sherry Laphroaig for the festival. So this is... it's called Cask Favourites. It's based on those two. It's a combination of those casks. So we've got a combination of the triple wood and the PX Sherry. You'll see the colour in a moment. Like, it's really super dark. But I'm excited. Like, I love Laphroaig. I think it's, one of the most recognisable green bottles that, it jumps out on a supermarket shelf. I'm on brand today. I've got my green on, ready for the frog. So let's go.
This sounds crazy, but I actually think Laphroaig is actually a little unheralded at the moment.
You think it flies under the radar a bit?
Because I know the 10 is probably the most popular peated whiskey in the world, right? And that goes everywhere. We always talk about wherever you are, Four Seasons, Las Vegas.
You do.
Laphroaig will be their peaty whiskey of choice.
Yeah.
They have there. So, but I just see when the festival buzz comes, and the festival bottles, and people are talking about these releases, I'm not really hearing about Laphroaig all that much. People aren't getting so excited. I know you had is your guy Hunter? Has he gone to Locklear? People are kind of
was it John Williams was the distillery manager at Laphroaig, and then he moved over to Locklear, wasn't it? And there's a lot of kind of
people read into that a lot, don't they?
Yeah, people have kind of speculated that Laphroaig were kind of steering more towards, I guess, mass market type production, trying to move away from really like what they're built on, right? It's that powerful medicinal kind of peat. And I think that, they want to kind of make it a bit more approachable, a bit more accessible, obviously, to drive sales into maybe markets where they're perhaps not as popular.
Because if you ever wanted to trick your friends, Laphroaig was always the one.
Yeah.
Them, right?
Yeah. I mean, like, we've all had that experience, right, where you've drank Laphroaig 10 for the first time, and you make that kind of face. You're like, oh, and then
it's like I've got a cut on my legs.
Yeah, but it's just so recognisable. I think it jumps out. I do love when the festival releases come around. I bought quite a few of the bottles this year. The ones that I didn't actually go for, purely priced out of them, was the Kalila and Lagavulin this year. I've always got them in the past, but they're just so expensive now. This one was about £90, which for a festival release, it's cask strength, 52.4%. So yeah, I'm expecting good things.
I've always loved Laphroaig. It's actually one of my favorites, and the classic Laphroaig. You've got that 15-year-old independent bottling of Laphroaig, haven't you? The 15-year-old.
Oh,
and
yeah,
it's just for me
yeah.
that could be my favorite dram of the whole year. It's in consideration. It's just that good. When Laphroaig works, I absolutely adore.
Yeah.
That sort of stamp that is just it's Laphroaigian. Only they have their style.
Yeah. So interestingly, when I went up to Glasgow before that Laphroaig was even released, so the bottle that we're talking about, we'll do a review of it on an upcoming episode soon. It's absolutely fantastic. But I was in a shop, Robert Graham, which is an old whiskey and cigar shop that's been around for years, family-run business based in Glasgow. And the lady who was working there, she said that Laphroaig is excellent at 15 years old. This is a single cask, bourbon cask Laphroaig, aged for 15 years. I feel like we're like almost kind of talking about that whiskey and not this whiskey, but it is phenomenal now because what we've got here, and as you can see, it's incredibly dark.
This is insane. This is almost like a you know when you go down after a party on a Sunday morning and people have like left their like empty, like, you know, the sort of the empty-ish glasses of Coke.
Yeah,
it's kind of that colour, isn't it? It
it's
looks like flat cola.
Almost as dark as like Coca-Cola, isn't it? It's so dark. So this is the PX. Like, now again, I'm typically a fan of sherry and peat. I think it works really well. I went through a period where I bought a lot of sherry cask whiskies, and I know people love them. You know, you've got like your Glendronachs, your Glenallecys, really popular whiskies. I've kind of like steered away from the sherry casks. You know, we talk a lot that we're purists. We like the bourbon casks, the classic oak kind of flavors. So it's an interesting one, this one, for me to get down with it. But it looks like a thick whiskey, just by the...
It looks like syrup.
Yeah,
syrupy. I've never seen a whiskey this color before. It's insane. And then straight away it's just straight power, isn't it?
It is, like...
Wow. What percentage is this?
This is 52.4%.
Yeah, if you could smell what I'm smelling, like, this put some hairs on your chest.
That's the unmistakable medicinal, smoky, peaty.
This is what you'd imagine it being
Laphroaig
like
character, isn't
Little
it?
Wayne's cup. You know, Little Wayne always has that little cup with him. This could be in that cup.
Yeah. I mean, to think like we're going to be going to the pub to watch the England match after this, like, it could get things fired up. But it's quite nutty as well. Nutty, spicy. Lots of those kind of dark flavors that you'd expect, like the raisins that you always get with the sherry casks, bacon spices. But I think do you know what I do get is a nice kind of balance here between the peat, the fruit, the spices. I think the nose is really solid. It's a good nose for me. But it's to my taste. There's lots of berries, dark fruits, figgy, kind of prune type flavors, you know.
I'm really getting that. That cowpole note. That you know, it's like cough syrup.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, it's super medicinal, isn't it?
And then when you taste it, when you said like it's nutty, it's really, really nutty.
Wow.
It's like it just reminded me of that, you know, that Austin Powers scene where he tastes he tastes his own shit, but he's like
the coffee. Instantly, it's like treacle toffee. The first flavor that I get from that, from as soon as it like hit my tongue, is like that kind of, you know, campfire style toffee you always get around like Halloween and bonfire night. Really kind of thick, so rich, really rich, oily, little bit of saltiness to it as well.
It's just it's got so much power to it. It's like a stallion, isn't it? It's just such a power.
That finish, yeah.
So when you're when you're at the horse racing track and like you see a horse whiz past you and you realize how big and powerful a horse is, it's kind of like that.
Yeah.
That's the image I'm getting in my mind. It's just so powerful.
Lovely wood smoke coming through at the end as well. Nice long finish. Good kick of spice. It's kind of like it hits your tongue. And that's another thing that I do admire about Laphroaig is the balance that they manage to get. Between like how it's almost kind of an oxymoron that they can have something that's so incredibly smoky and medicinal, but balanced with that sweetness as well. Like you even do get some kind of like vanilla notes coming through.
Well, yeah, it's kind of like the smell is medicinal.
Yeah.
The taste is kind of that bonfire-y.
Yeah.
Campfire, but then it disappears, and then the actual flavor of the whiskey comes in. You know, it comes in through the back door. It's a bit of a Trojan horse, isn't it? You know, because you would just think that you're in for something which is just fiery, which is just peat. But then actually in the back door, you know, it's like a Bond car. You know what I mean? He pulls a different button and like another gadget like pops out. It's kind of like that.
I'm going to just pop a couple of drops of water in. So, this is a good strength as well. Like we say, 52.4. So I think a couple of drops.
But it's kind of that richer syrupy sherry.
Yeah.
Than it is the
dry. It's PX. Yeah, it is. It's PX. So that's the more sweet style sherry. Like I personally tend to lean more towards like the Oloroso type casks. But yeah, it's thick. It's a sticky kind of sweet, syrupy, really kind of that style of dram, isn't it?
It's nothing like I would because it is Laphroaig, because it has Laphroaig all over its foundation. But at the same time, I've never had a Laphroaig whiskey like this.
No,
this is like new to me.
Do you think that's the sherry influence?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I know they do make a sherry 10-year-old, don't they?
Yeah, sherry 10-year-old.
But I've never had it. I've only had the classic.
I've got it there. It's good. I like it. It's kind of with the water there. It's not for everybody. I personally don't mind it, especially because I drink a lot of peated whiskey. But I do get a little bit of struck match now that I've put the water in it, and that typically is a sulfur kind of note. I don't have any problem. It's not overpowering. It doesn't dominate, but a lot of people wouldn't like that.
Oh, the water's just made it so much smoother. It gave it more of that drying note with the water. Actually, the water is a game changer.
I think a lot of the more fruit comes through with the water as well, certainly on the palate. Those nice kind of juicy red berry type flavours. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it does have a dry, oaky, spicy kind of finish, doesn't it?
But this is one. You know when sometimes you watch like a Ralphie review, and sometimes he'll talk about like really what you should be doing if you want to really have whiskey because you want to enjoy it and you want to enjoy the experience it can give you. This is a hugely experiential whiskey that is going to change in the glass.
Yeah,
this is one I'd actually. Unfortunately, we're kind of in a bit of a rush, and we're going to head after this because this is one I'd want to maybe when we come back from the pub, maybe might even leave it and come back and see what's happened to it after, because it has got that over an hour. You put that next to something else, and you have those as your two sippers over the night. I think would be a great way to experience it. I think it's definitely one which it's so like I'm not even rushing to drink anymore because it's so like satisfying, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, you want to kind of spend some time with it.
Still got the finish.
The finish is so really long.
That's still there. So for me, I think it's a buy. I think it's a great release, and I think it's for somebody like Laphroaig. Laphroaig are always going to be when people actually go to Islay itself. Laphroaig are always the ones you see on where people really enjoy being there at the distillery. Yeah. But in terms of, like I said, they're not as popular in terms of the releases that they do.
Strange, isn't it? Yeah.
They're not like selling out and that sort of thing. But I think it's a fantastic release. I think it's really good and it's totally different. And it's something that we said about the Ardbeg. It's innovation. The spectacular Ardbeg. It's innovation. It's something different. It's not something that's been rehashed 100 times.
Yeah.
I think it's a buy.
I do. You just triggered something there as well. So I go back to, like I said, I think everyone's had that experience the first time that they tried Laphroaig, and it's like, ugh. And then as I've certainly gone on my whiskey journey and grown more into peat, in the early days, my collection was more Speysiders, Highland whiskies, the stuff that you'd expect, and then somehow just kind of gravitated more towards peat. And, you can probably see in the background, I'd say 60 to 70% of my collection is Islay whiskey, peated whiskey. Massive fan of it. But as we're filming this, it's just coming up to the end of June as we film today. Laphroaig are re-releasing the 18-year-old on the 4th of July. So having tried this today, I do go through periods like where I will literally just drink nothing but Laphroaig for like 2 weeks solid. Mm-hmm. I love it. And this is just making me think, the next bottle that I buy, I'm going to get that 18-year-old when it comes out. We'll get this. We'll get it on here as well. We'll do a review because the 18-year-old was I've never actually tried it, but I've heard a lot that it was like an absolute classic.
Do you know what percentage they're releasing that at? What ABV?
I'd have to come back to that because I wasn't sort of in my mind prepared to talk about it today. It just, you said something and it just kind of popped into my head that it's actually coming out. I know it's going to cost around 175 quid. A lot of the 18-year-olds are kind of getting closer to the £200 price bracket now, which is another thing that I want to talk about on another episode. But yeah, for me, a buy. I think it's a really, really solid release. I was expecting to like it. I like the triple wood. I like the PX cask.
Well, as you said, we've tended to stray more towards the straightforward bourbon casks this year. So to do something totally different has been fantastic. I've actually really enjoyed this, and it's been a lot easier to drink than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be a little bit too challenging.
Yeah.
For me, but no, I absolutely delight in. It just comes back again. I just whatever. Laphroaig's DNA just really agrees with me. I just really find it delicious. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I think just with the water there as well, it almost on the nose turns to like burnt toast, getting a really like burnt toast note coming through.
Yeah,
I just kind of went, oh yeah, that's the one. That's what it is. Yeah, it's fantastic. I love it. I think it'll be difficult to. It's tough to beat. It's a strong one for me.
It's a really admirable release.
Drinking the Law yesterday as well. I like that. I'm a big fan of the Law. Yeah, I like pretty much most of what they do.
Perfect. Well, yeah. I think we found out it's a buy, and take them out, Bottle Killer.
Well, thanks for joining us for this review. I hope you all had a good time. I've had a really good time. Michael, have you had a good time?
It's been a blast.
And we'll see you next time on Bottle Kill TV. Stay tuned.